What's up, guys? It's Nundark, and today's video is simply titled Pokemon for Dummies. The reason I wanted to make a video about this is I had a friend ask me the other day, what is Pokemon? He didn't know. He didn't play as a kid. He isn't as into it at all, really. Definitely as I am, but isn't into it and is curious. He's seeing everything I'm doing. He's coming over. He's seeing my collection. He's asking the right questions, but he just doesn't understand the structure of the Pokemon trading card game. And he was asking questions like, why are you always getting this new product? What is this new product? How often do they release new product? How many Pokemon are there? Like, all these great questions, and he can't be the only person wondering this. So I think it'll be a trip down memory lane if you're a Pokemon vet and you know all this. Maybe I can teach you one thing, but if you are not familiar with the Pokemon game and you're wondering the question, what is the Pokemon trading card game and what can I do with it and how can I pursue it and just help me understand it, this video is for you. The next video also that I will be releasing is going to be awesome. It is a Pokemon trading card itself 101. So there's so many symbols and so many numbers and rarities and versions of a card. And that was another question he asked. He said, how do I know a card's valuable? How do I know what I'm looking at in a card? And that's going to be the next video. So I'm going to start to do a little bit of just a training series, if you will, an educational bit. And if you're not a subscriber and you know someone who, maybe it's yourself, maybe you know someone who could use this brief, Pokemon for Dummies Pokemon card for Dummies tutorials, shoot them a link, subscribe. I would greatly appreciate it. Yeah, without further ado, the pyramid on the screen right now is a breakdown of the Pokemon trading card game. So there's the Pokemon Company, and that encompasses a lot of things. It encompasses video games, it encompasses TV shows, movies, box offices, toys, plushies, but then there's the trading card game. And within the trading card game, the base of the pyramid is the Pokemon TCG. And then up from there are generations of Pokemon cards. So every so often, on average, every 2 to 3 years, they release a new generation of Pokemon. And we'll get into exactly what that means. There's a slide for each of these levels of the pyramid. But then up from the generations of Pokemon cards, there are Pokemon sets. So within each generation, let's use TV shows as an example. You have a new TV show season that comes out. Within each season, there's several episodes. So a generation is a season, and a set is an episode. And then within each set, there's so many different products you can buy, and we'll get into all of them. Most of them, there's endless, but you can get a ton of different products for any different price points, collectability, most packs, most trinkets within each set. And then within each product is the actual Pokemon cards themselves. And then we talk a little bit about what you can do with those. So that's the brief synopsis of what I'm trying to accomplish here, is just break down from the Pokemon trading card avenue of the Pokemon Company. What is the structure there, and how does it go from the Pokemon TCG to the actual card that you're holding in your hand? So I hope this video is helpful. Again, like and subscribe if you appreciate this kind of content. Just trying to be helpful, share a little bit of knowledge. I don't have it all, but I'm happy to share with people who might not know the ins and outs of the Pokemon TCG. So let's get to the base of the pyramid now. All right, so the Pokemon Company itself are the creators of it all. They control, the video games, the Pokemon Go's on your phones, the apps, the Game Boys, SDs, Nintendo Switches, all things video games is the biggest leg of the company's revenue share. Surprisingly, I thought it'd be the trading card game, but it is certainly the video games. Then you have the trading card game, which is what we're going to cover today. That's my passion. I was a player a little bit of the video games. I have a few, like Ruby and Sapphire still. But yeah, we're going to highlight the trading card game in this video. And then from there you have box office, the Pokemon movie in 2000. There's been other Pokemon movies that have come out, television, and then toys. You'll see Pokemon toys all over the place. Merchandise, t-shirts, swag, you name it. There's something. I have a Pikachu frame on my wall from Hobby Lobby. Pokemon is inescapable, and that's kind of toys / merchandise in that bottom leg. So that is the structure of the Pokemon Company as a whole. We're going to start to highlight the trading card game and work our way up to the actual cards. So within the Pokemon Trading Card Game, there are generations. Like I said, TV seasons. And the first generation was the Kanto region, the Kanto generation of Pokemon, Generation 1. And that was red and green. There was yellow, blue. It was just the original. We'll get into what sets were in that generation, but the original generation released the first 151 Pokemon. And the important thing to note with each generation is that a new generation is an opportunity for the Pokemon Company and predominantly the video games to introduce a new region, like a new land, a new world for the Pokemon to exist in, and a new set of Pokemon. So, like, let's use Generation 4, Sinnoh, for example. There will still be Gen 1, 2, and 3 Pokemon in Generation 4, but there's also going to be new Pokemon that were introduced in Generation 4, like new characters to a TV show. And then the new world that they live in, every generation starts with a video game. The Pokemon Company starts with a video game, and it would be called, let's say, Ruby and Sapphire for Generation 3. And those are the video games, and that's playing in the new world, catching new Pokemon. And then it trickles down to the trading card game, where we get new Pokemon sets within that generation, revolving around that world and that new region, with new Pokemon that are introduced. So the reason Pokemon 151 this past year in 2023, as a part of Generation 9, Scarlet and Violet, was such a big deal is it was a card set dedicated to the original Kanto 151 Pokemon. Never before done in that facet, and it just brought people back. It didn't include any of the new Paldea Pokemon. It was just Kanto Pokemon, but in Scarlet and Violet era. Pretty cool. So these are the generations. We're now going to get into the sets within each generation and what that means. So they release a new generation, and then the Pokemon Company decides what sets they want to include in that generation, and each set is an expansion of cards with a special set of Pokemon in it, a special number of Pokemon in it, gimmicks, and unique cards. So you can have a Charmander in multiple sets within one generation. It's just going to be a different Charmander card. It's going to be a different variant of that card. And then certain sets are going to release gimmicks. What I mean by gimmicks is like EX cards or VMAX, V-Star cards. It's a gimmick in the competitive avenue of the game, where, you know, as you climb up the rarity of Pokemon cards, and we'll get into that, you basically, instead of just having this, let's use this Larvitar, for example. You have this standard Larvitar. Well, the evolution from Larvitar is Tyranitar, and Tyranitar could be in an EX form or a VMAX form. And it has a special ability, it has a special move or counter move in the game, and that's a gimmick. The EX gimmick, the V-Star VMAX gimmick. Maybe it's the first time reverse hollows are introduced. That's the gimmick. Just little things that make that set unique and special. Those are what I'm calling gimmicks. And often they come with playability in the competitive scene. And then it's just, it's an opportunity to bring some new Pokemon in, lump groups of Pokemon together. You might have only one set that ever exists that has a Gengar, a Charizard, a Larvitar, a Pinsirchin. Like, there might only be, if those are your 4 favorite Pokemon and you want them in one set, that might only exist once. You know, there's 80 to 90 sets that have been released, and those 4 together, that might only happen once because they hand select Pokemon to be a part of each of these sets, and they make sure to prioritize the sets that were, or the Pokemon that were released in that set's generation, if that makes sense. So another important note is Pokemon sets are released in Japan first, and then they're downstream, they're distributed around the world. I don't know if English is actually second, but being in America, I enjoy the Japanese sets, and I go open them and I see the artwork, and typically the English sets follow a month or 2 behind and keep the same artwork, but introduce some promo cards, take a few of the illustration rares and make them a promo card for the Elite Trainer box, which we'll get into and what products are in a set. But yeah, it's always started where Pokemon started, and the Japanese sets get revealed, and then downstream from there, all the other nationalities of Pokemon cards come out. So, for instance, Gen 1 Kanto sets, you have base set. These are all going to sound familiar to you guys if you are a fan of the original Pokemon game, and if you are of the age I'm at and played Pokemon as a kid. You have base set cards, you have Jungle, Fossil, base set 2, Team Rocket, Gym Heroes, and Gym Challenge. Gym Heroes and Gym Challenge had all of the trainer cards like Misty's Magikarp, Misty's Psyduck, Brock's, Brock's Rhyhorn. Like those are all cards in those. They're all trainer related, and it was almost, you can kind of see how the Pokemon Company eventually went to the trainer gallery cards where they pair Pokemon with trainers. No different than what they were trying to do with Gym Heroes and Gym Challenge. Team Rocket had a lot of the dark, like the Dark Dragonair, the Dark Dragonite, Dark Golduck, like all those dark cards, because Team Rocket obviously is the evil duo with Meowth in the show. So again, all these things stem from the game, the video games, and the shows, and they trickle their way into the trading card game. It all tells a story. And then Fossil and Jungle, those come with first edition stamps. And really, all these, I think, come with first edition stamps. In Gen 1 and Gen 2, you could get first edition print runs, which obviously make the card more exclusive, more rare. We're going to cover that in the next video. When you see that stamp on the card, that's when you know you have a big money card. Super exclusive, super rare, especially in good condition in 2024. So that's kind of Pokemon sets. And next, we're going to get into the products you can buy within each set. All right, so within each Pokemon set, there's a variety of products you can buy. And the creme de la creme, the number one like product, if you will, that is probably the highest dollar value. It's the most stable and liquid. If you want to keep products sealed and invest in it, it's the most, time and time again, history proves itself to be true, lucrative. It's a booster box. It contains nothing but packs, nothing but cards. 36 booster packs are in a booster box. And those are typically anywhere from the $120 to $140 range when the set releases. And then it typically drops and gets all the way down to like somewhere around 80 and then climbs to infinite, and I mean infinite, prices as those boxes are no longer printed and they're ripped open and there's less and less of them. But a booster box is kind of your top standard product. One that I don't have on the screen is ultra premium collection boxes. These are new things in the past several years, but an ultra premium collection box also comes with a high price point, contains a large selection of packs, but also a lot of goodies and trinkets and coins and damage counter dices and play mats. And it's pretty much just like a kid's dream on Christmas morning would be to open up an ultra premium collection box. It's kind of how I picture it, and I do too. From that, you get the Elite Trainer box. Elite Trainer boxes are what are displayed on the wall behind me. There is an Elite Trainer box, maybe 2 variants for every set. And Elite Trainer boxes have anywhere from 9 to 11 packs. They have card sleeves, card dividers. They're nice boxes to hold your cards, and then they come with a nice display sleeve that looks really good on the shelf and helps highlight what that set's aesthetic is. And they're super collectible. They now have Pokemon Center exclusive Elite Trainer boxes, and those come with a extra promo card with a Pokemon Center stamp on it. They come with more booster packs. Super lucrative, super collectible, much more exclusive than a standard Elite Trainer box. But an Elite Trainer box typically starts around 40 to 60 bucks. You can find them cheaper later on. They can climb in value as well, but they're kind of that middle level entry point if you want a nice selection of packs, pull a few hits, but you don't want to completely break the bank on a booster box. And then you get down into your booster bundles, which are just 6 packs straight up. Your build and battle bundles, which are 4 packs, and then a little playable deck if you like to learn and play the game. You have your specialty collection boxes, which feature unique promo cards and a small selection of packs from that set, or like jumbo cards are usually in those premium collection boxes. Mini tins are just collectible tins that store cards, and inside of them have a few packs, like 3 to 5 packs, and the tin usually has a clear cover with a promo card for displayability. So those are your collectible tins. You have 3-pack blisters, and then you have your 1 single booster pack. Booster packs are, you don't know what they're going to get in them. They're not weighable anymore, so scammers can't weigh them and find which ones hollow and aren't, or have hollows and don't. But a booster pack is the single item that contains your actual Pokemon cards, your code card for the online game, your one energy card. It is the real meat and potatoes of what we're all trying to rip open and pull those chase cards and the cards that we want. It goes from a booster box all the way down to a single booster pack, typically around $4. The more you buy in a box, the cheaper they get per pack. You can get down to $2 a pack, and certain packs can get crazy prices the older and older the set gets. But yeah, the products are infinite. You typically will see these in every Pokemon set, and the only caveat is if it's a specialty set and not a standard set. So within each generation, you're going to have probably like 7 to 9 standard sets, and then like 2 to 3 special sets, holiday sets that don't need to have anything to do with that generation. Like Pokemon 151 was paying homage to a past generation. It was a specialty holiday set. It didn't have a booster box, therefore. So it had ETBs and it had booster bundles, but booster boxes only are for standard sets. So I know that was a lot, but if you've seen these products in stores, maybe you'll start to notice them more now, knowing kind of what they are, and they all come with different price points shown high to low on the screen. And now we're going to get into the actual Pokemon cards themselves. All right, we're here at the actual Pokemon cards, the things we're trying to collect, the things we want to display and play with. There's so many things to do with a Pokemon card itself, and we are here. It warrants an entire video because there's so much to cover on what is shown on a Pokemon card. Like, you can just look at the Pokemon and appreciate that, but there's information below it. There's HP, there's usually an evolution symbol here, there's other stamps, there's numbers on the bottom corner, there's set stamps, there is so much, and every set and every generation of Pokemon cards has different things that they show on each card. So what are you looking for? And that's going to be in the next video. Again, I encourage you to not miss it, to hit that subscribe button. We're going to really get into how do you know a card is valuable, what is shown on a card. But yeah, you have Pokemon cards, and Pokemon cards are what everyone wants, but for different reasons. This is a perfect time to highlight what you can do with Pokemon cards. And when I get asked, why am I doing this? Why am I collecting Pokemon cards? The answer is going to be different for everyone, and that's the best part. You can be a player of the game, whether it's casually or competitively. Like, the trading card game is exactly what it sounds like. It is meant to be traded. You trade cards, you build up your deck, you make your deck stronger, and then you play the game. So there's the competitive scene and the casual playing scene, if you will. And then there's the collecting of cards. I just love how they look. I love collecting master sets where I have one of every card from a certain set I like. I really like Charizard, so I'm going to collect every Charizard that's ever come out. It's a very collectible hobby, and the Pokemon Company knows that. And then there are the investors. There are people who are looking to acquire cards that they feel are going to go up in value, whether it's through popularity, scarcity, and supply and demand, playability. So many different things make a card valuable, and I don't play the game, but I certainly collect for pleasure and for investment. I'm not collecting things that are expensive that I don't think are going to return that price, but I'm also collecting things that are very cheap, have no monetary value. I just like the card. So collecting investors, the coin term, other people have used it, but there's just so many things you can do with the actual Pokemon cards themselves. Again, I'm just sorting bulk mastered sets below me here. I was doing it before the video, so these aren't special cards. We'll get into more of those in the next video, but yeah, just the Pokemon cards themselves. There's so many things you can do with the game. And the two most important things to note about cards is they come in different variants. You have holo rares, or holographic cards, sorry, reverse holo cards. And what I mean by that is a holo card, only the Pokemon stamp and the picture is holo. This text area is non-holo. And the older cards, the silver borders didn't exist and weren't holo either, so we'll get into all that. But yeah, holo means the Pokemon itself is holo. Reverse holo means everything but the Pokemon is holo. So you can see here, non-holo, but the whole card itself has this pattern on it and it's holographic, where just the Hariyama is holo here. So that's holo and reverse holo, and then you have obviously your standard card. So there are 3 different variants of cards that are pretty common across all sets. And then the other thing to note too is rarity levels. You start with your commons, you're gonna see a ton of them, you're gonna pull a lot of duplicates. Each pack is gonna be littered with commons and probably multiple uncommons. So a common's a circle stamp, an uncommon's a diamond, so on and so forth. You have your rares, you have your holo rares, then you can get into double rares, ultra rares, which are full art variants of cards in the newer generations. You can get to illustration rares, special illustration rares, hyper rares, gold rares, secret rares, as Pokemon Company has adapted and created new generations and found that, the Pokemon Company is not stupid. We are getting desensitized to a standard holo card. So what they do? They made the whole card artwork and they made it all holo. And then they said, that's not good enough. You used to only pull a holo every 3-4 packs. We're gonna put 2 reverse holos and a holo in every pack. So even if they're not hits and they're not valuable, everyone who opens a pack is going to feel something. They're going to feel shininess. They're going to feel a holo card. And then that's when the valuable cards became full art cards. And I don't know what, and then they introduced gold cards. And they're going to keep doing stuff to keep it fresh. And that has really evolved the rarity scale of cards. There are now so many, where originally it was literally 3 rarities: a common, an uncommon, and a star, a black star, which notified rare. And those rares were often holos. That was it. It was simple. And now it's very complex. But it's so fun. There's so many different variants and rarities of every card. And then the coolest part is in Japanese, it's different than in English. In Japanese, in the current generation and in previous ones, an art rare is the equivalent of an English illustration rare. And an SAR, a secret art rare, is a special illustration rare in English. So they don't need to be the same. Again, there is so much to learn, so much to know, but I just hope that seeing the pyramid that I'm going to show once again on the screen, where it's the Pokemon Trading Card Game, they release generations of sets. They release a bunch of sets in that 2 to 3 year generation. Those sets have so many products you can go buy to get that booster pack and those Pokemon cards from that set to open and play with and collect and trade and sell and invest. It's a whole deal. And there's just so much to it. There's a purpose for everyone and everyone's welcome. So that's just my favorite part about it. I hope that taught you something, a little bit about Pokemon TCG, the trading card game for dummies. And I'm not insulting anyone there. I'm a dummy too. And you know that section at the bookstore, all the yellow spines where it's blank for dummies, traveling for dummies, investing for dummies. That's all I'm trying to do here. So hopefully you learned something. Again, be a good human, be a good person, enjoy life, soak in this hobby. We'll catch you in the next video. It's going to be a banger. We are going to look at some really valuable cards, some of the best ones I've collected, and how you know a card is valuable and what all these different symbols on these cards means. So you're not going to want to miss it. We'll catch you in the next one. Peace.